Hey, we're inching in. We got to have actual hockey to talk about. Minnesota Wild, first, I mean, anytime you get Mike Russo talking about Kaprizov or Rossi, everyone's going to start talking about it again. Case in point, here we are. I got to say, though, like, is this the weirdest, like, I feel like the Minnesota Wild are, like, some hot chick, and Marco Rossi is the guy that's, like, perfect for them in so many ways, but, like, no matter what, he's not going to be good enough, and she's going to treat him like shit. Kaprizov is the hot guy who just is, like, does not care about the girl that much, but she's going to keep on trying to chase him and make it work, and they're just sitting here shitting all over Rossi throughout all of this, while Kaprizov, like, I'm not worried, but I'm starting to get pre-worried, if that makes sense. Like, every day that he gets closer to not being under contract, he's got to at least kind of be thinking about what life could be elsewhere, right?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I think there's a pretty distinct difference between the two situations right now. Anyways, like I think everyone.
I'm not saying they're not different situations. It's two different guys, right?
No, I know. I'm just going off what you were saying. But like, I mean, I think everyone's on the same page. Whether Kaprizov signs as long as he signs here, whether it's long term, whether it's like a 4 or 5 year deal for some amount of time, he's going to be the highest paid player in the league. And that contract is pretty much just like, want to sit down, make sure we're all good, make sure that like Kaprizov's camp, any information that's getting to them outside of like Bill Guerin himself or anyone in the Wild front office, like want to make sure that the information they're getting is from them only, nothing that they're hearing isn't true, whatever. And pretty much just do it face to face, in person, or whatever. Meanwhile, the Rossi thing, we have no fucking. I mean, the closest consensus we can get, it's gonna, if he signs, it'll be a short term, like prove it bridge. Probably, like, I would be shocked if it was more than 2 years, to be honest with you. We've mentioned the 5x5, which we'll talk about that in a second. Let anyone who wants to go off about it. But like the fact they haven't talked since June is probably the thing where it's just like, well, that's fucking weird and annoying and doesn't make me feel good. And there's pretty much all of it's like confusing. Because I think all the fans would have agreed that this should have been pretty easy. We both love Marco Rossi. I would sign him long term. I'd give him the dough that pretty much from what we heard, what he's like basically asking for, unless it starts with an 8. Like, I don't think that's not probably wise in that case. I understand where the Wild were coming from. They don't view. The thing that I don't love is like when they're like, well, we don't want to pay him more than Eriksson Ek. It's like, well, Eriksson Ek wouldn't have signed the contract that he's on right now. Right now, he wouldn't sign that deal again. He would demand way more money because he's worth significantly more money. And also, that was 4 years ago. So the cap is already like higher than it was then. And it's projected to skyrocket versus when Eriksson Ek signed that contract. So it's a completely different situation. But that's the thing. I think that's the big difference, where it's just like, yeah, the Kaprizov one's basically done. It's like, hey, is it long term, short term, like whatever.
But dude, the player comp that is driving me up a tree is Matt Boldy. What the fuck does Matt Boldy's contract have to do with Marco Rossi? Like, it's insane to be like, well, he's a $7 million player, so you're definitely not that because you're not Matt Boldy. Because the timing that was signed has nothing to do with it at all. Like, completely different salary cap position. People were pissed about the Boldy contract initially. There were people that were mad about a 7x7, thinking that the Wild overpaid. Like, we're going to reach a point that Matt Boldy is like so pissed off and tired of hearing about how underpaid he is that he's going to like hold out and be like, yeah, you're going to have to restructure this, even though that doesn't happen in hockey. Like it is being battered around so much, and everyone's like, oh, if he gets 7, then Marco Rossi can't get 7. Like it's not the same. It's not. I'm going to lose my mind if people keep on throwing out the Boldy contract. Do you disagree?
No. I mean, yeah, it's two different players, two different positions. The only real similarity is they're top players that are young in the organization. They're like supposedly like going to be here. Well,
like what? Here's the question:
like young stars potentially in the league, whatever.
Boldy's a free agent this summer. He's making 10? 9?
Somewhere around 9, probably. Yeah.
Like somewhere in that range, right? So it's crazy that people keep throwing that out. And the other thing that people have, I don't know, maybe over or underblown is the whole whiteboard thing, right? Marco learns that he is the fourth line center when he walks in the locker room and sees his name on the board. It's weird. I understand maybe where it would bother him, but like, tough shit.
Far from the first time that's ever happened to a player, yeah.
It's more so what happened after. Like, was there ever a conversation? We don't know. Because, like, we hear the conjecture with Russo and LaPanta, and, like, I'm just done talking about LaPanta's opinions because I just don't have anything else to say about what he thinks about the situation. But it's interesting to hear them keep talking about, like, oh, you know what, Hines and Gerrans need to sit down and talk to him. Like, they need to help him, like, feel, like, understand what happened and see what the situation is. Dude, did that conversation not happen in exit meetings? Because if not, that's, like, an egregious offense. Why would you not talk about it at that time and let this drag into the summer? And if they did, what didn't connect? Like, if Rossi's just sitting here being poopy pants and, like, sad that he got demoted, but they've given him every reassurance that he's gonna be, you know, second line center, call it whatever you want. I understand him, like, digging his heels in and wanting more money to validate that. I do. But if he is just sitting there being pouty about it, then okay, maybe I side with Guerin a little bit more. If Guerin's just sitting here saying, oh, you're going to take what we give you because we have control and screw you. Okay. It's not exactly the way to handle this if you think he's going to be here long term, which is exactly why he doesn't want to sign a cheap deal, because he knows he's getting shipped out right away. Right? It's a weird, I don't know that we're going to find an actual compromise, because now both sides don't want the 5x5. The Wild don't want to offer it, and he doesn't want to take it. I just don't even know how you move forward on this, because now if they do a 2-year deal, they're not going to go past $5 million. How does this happen? How do we come to terms on a contract?
Yeah, I mean, like, part of it too, like, because I mean, I think I saw Russo was talking about this somewhere. Like, they want to, like, once camp starts, potentially start sitting down with Gustafsson and looking at, well, if we're going to pay him like a 1C, the Faber's going to be a $9 million player. Like, you know, dude, Matt Boldy's going to be up again in a couple of years.
Is that a 1C? Doesn't sound like a 1C to me.
Right. No, I know. I'm just throwing ideas around.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm more just arguing with, like, because I've seen people say that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that is the sentiment out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other day, like, you and I have the same opinion on this as far as, like, what we think Rossi's worth, how good he is. He's only getting better. I can understand the Wild not looking at him like an $8 million player. Totally. Or if they just don't want to give him big dough long term, if they look at, like, the way that they're, like, some of the players that are coming up now, like the Booyams of the world, again, Faber's going to be making $9 million. At some point, Boldy's going to be up for another contract, which will be significantly more than $7 million. Kaprizov's about to be the highest paid player in the league, potentially, if he signs.
Can we pause on that real quick? If we're going to use Boldy as a comp for Rossi, why are we not using it for Kaprizov? Is Kirill Kaprizov more than twice the player that Matt Boldy is? Because that's what they're going to pay him.
Right. No, I don't know.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I guess. I mean, I could not tell you because they're not very clear about what, like, how the meetings went, any conversation they've had with Marco, other than, like, yeah, we like Marco, we want him to stay here, we want to sign him. And, like, we've got some information about, like, offers from the past that obviously Rossi wasn't going to accept. I would just assume, again, like, when they look at the players they have coming, who's here now, the contracts will be dealing out, they just don't view him as, like, a player that long term they look at as, like, a top 6 forward, like one of the higher paid players in the team. Again, there's going to be other players who are going to be naturally just paid more, so he's going to be somewhere like maybe up there, but not top of the line. But I mean, to me, it just screams like they don't, unless they can get him on like the bargain of all bargains, they probably just don't view him like a long-term like difference maker for them, like in Minnesota. Which I mean, I get it. He's like it's a weird profile for like a top 6 center, but like what he's done, you know, what he's overcome, and like how good he's been the last 2 years, and the fact that he's only getting better, like to me is crazy. But maybe they just are potentially looking to like end up going in some different direction again. I don't know. We don't really, we have very little like information outside of like some of the stuff that happened in like.
That's what's frustrating though, right? So much speculation, and people like.
The one good thing, I mean, like, well, I don't know if you want to say this one good thing, but like, I mean, like the work that Rossi's putting in this offseason, like he looks like a fucking machine right now. And you know, Marco Rossi's not a guy that's going to want to miss any of training camp. So you would assume that he probably wants to get, I mean, obviously he wants to get this done before that. But I don't think he has any interest in missing any time, especially if he knows he's only going to be signed like a 1 or 2 year deal anyways. Like, you know, he's going to want to hit the ground running and prove that he is worth that $7 million if that's what he's looking for, or 7.5, whatever it is. But I don't know. Again, the other thing for me is like I look at the other contracts for players like within 2 or 3 years of like his age, and like a Jackson Blake signs long term. What was his deal? Like 7.5, 8?
I don't know, but the one that drives me up a tree is Coronado.
Yeah, the Coronado one was like it's pretty cool. I'd probably give Marco. I mean, like what Rossi's done more than Coronado has. So like, and he's a center. So I mean, that's close to a comp as far as like the age and.
Here's the other one that kind of chaps my ass. Like when Russo, it's funny because like Russo will speculate and Russo will report, right? And he's pretty like clear about which one it is, and he does a really good job of like not tiptoeing that line. Like he's usually pretty straight up, like this is my intuition on the situation versus this is what I know. I believe Mike Russo if he comes out and says that there was zero interest in offer sheets, right? Like I have no reason not to believe that. But for LaPanta to grip into that and just go off about how, yeah, see, like the league has spoken. He's not worth it. So he needs to take whatever the Wild offer. I just think that that's such a bullshit argument because it's not apples to apples. Like the value to the Wild is very different than another team that has to give up an asset to bring him in. If you're going to sign an offer sheet, you've also got to factor in that there was only a handful of teams that even had the compensation needed to offer sheet him. And then of those teams, does he want to go to them? Like, it's just using that as the reason that, oh, clearly he's not worth what he thinks he is. Like, I just think that's lazy and it's kind of bullshit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like the other thing is too, we don't even know if he actually was just like, well, I guess I'll wait for an offer sheet. Like we don't even know if that was actually like it was like a like they got floated out once. So like
so what I'm saying more than his.
Right. So what I'm saying is like that's why I'm like that's a weird like it's a weird like thing to like add to your argument or whatever. But I mean, listen, I have a feeling it ends up being like, well, like 2 by fucking 4.5.
I just don't.
I don't know.
Accepting that, I think he tells him to shove it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's either that or he's like, I mean, he's just not going to sign anywhere because I don't know. If it comes down to training camp, they've got absolutely like nothing, like no other options. Like maybe that's that. I don't think it's a great way if you're the Wild to like, well, like no one else wants you, so you better sign this deal. Like I don't think that's great, but it might end up just being like, it might end up just like happening that way.
I guess my perspective on it is, who gets hurt more by Marco Rossi not getting signed? Marco Rossi. But is it as big of a gap as people want you to think? The Wild cannot afford to not make the playoffs this year. They cannot. Bill Guerin can't afford that. Leopold's pockets can't handle that. They need him there. They're just not willing to flinch this early and admit it. And hate to say it, but let's just say worst case scenario, doomsday scenario. Kaprizov comes back from Russia and he doesn't want to sign a contract yet. can you afford to lose him and Rossi in the same season? That'd be pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does the hammer almost switch to Rossi if Kaprizov comes back and doesn't sign? Now, let me be clear. I am not speculating that he won't sign. I'm not reporting that in any way. It's just a non-zero possibility that it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is working out with Malkin in Russia, so apparently Malkin's trying to talk him into leaving the Wild if you listen to certain people, but that was a great workout video, though. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I understand the Wild side. I do. I understand Rossi's side. It's the outside noise of people talking about it that it just feels like people are trying to like carve him down. Like, oh, Marco Rossi, this is still life-changing money. $2 million. It's not a lowball offer if it's that much money. Like, dude, if you offer me 30 or 40% less than I'm worth, I'm not gonna take that. Like, what?
Right.
I don't know. It's just a weird discussion to have about like, well, it's life-changing money either way, so he should just take it and say thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I just think that's a really weird conversation to have. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I land on all this is like, given the fact that like this is where we're at, like we can't, because this is obviously not an ideal way for this to go down, but he ends up signing like that, whatever, 1 or 2 year prove it deal. He just hits the ground running and just torches, and then ends up like earning that contract. Or if they still are like, we still don't really want, we don't view him in our like long term plans, then he like just like whatever skyrockets the trade
You can at
value,
least
and we'll
flip
see what
him.
happens. Right. So I mean, I think that's probably like the best case scenario. I mean, even just for like both sides, either way. But I don't know. I even feel like it'll end up being something like that, like a 2 year deal with like low money. Or if he's really confident that he's just gonna like smash it this year, then like a 1 year deal. Who knows? That feels super risky to me. But like if he's that confident, then go for it.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we've gone on for a while here saying exactly what Ron's put here. Like, holdout hurts both parties. Like, the Wild and Rossi are going to be in a very bad spot if that's where it lands. Neither side wants it. I think the Minnesota Wild are at least pretending that they're way more willing to let that happen. And I'm fascinated to see what a resolution might look like. Because I don't see it in the tea leaves right now. And I really hope that the whole Kaprizov thing is just get him back to the States, sit down, have a quick conversation with Bell, decide how many zeros you want there, and move on.
I feel like I haven't really seen anything like to the contrary, but like, I mean, I also, people know I barely pay attention in the off season anyways. Like I catch up every once in a while what's going on, but like every time I read or see anything or listen, it sounds like that's basically where they're at with the Kaprizov thing. So I'm fairly confident somebody gets done before training camp, or like whatever, day 1 or 2 of training camp, or just whenever the fuck he gets back here. I forget when they said he was coming back, but
it's one of those things, man, where it's just eerie when, like, again, this is not news or reporting, but like when Russo even sounds a little hesitant, right? He's not saying no. He still thinks it's getting done, but like you can hear the hesitation. That gives me a lot of pause. And hearing people outside of the market, there's some people that are just window dressing. Like there's the Lazaruses of the world who are like, oh yeah, he said he wants to go to Chicago. Oh, wait, sorry, I slightly misspoke. The Blackhawks would love to have Kirill Kaprizov. Like, all right, dude. But there are people out there who are very convinced that he is not going to be with Minnesota. And some names I just glance it off. There's others where it's like, oh shit, if you really think this, that scares me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very much like, gun to my head, Kaprizov stays. But it doesn't feel as good as it did a couple months ago.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'll find
the
out,
4-year deal would actually be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't hate it.